In today's video, I'm going to show you how to plant winter field peas as a cover crop to get your beds ready so that they're ready to produce great harvests next growing season. This is a very simple task to do. It should only take you a few minutes, and I'll show you a few steps to make it go much faster than what you probably have traditionally seen in other videos. So let's start planting. So the first thing I'm going to do is in this bed where I grew squash last summer and cucumbers. Those plants take up a lot of nutrients, so these winter field peas will help to grab atmospheric nitrogen that's in the air all around us and actually convert that into nitrogen in the soil, which will help feed plants that we plant next summer. And so the actual roots and the actual plants themselves in the spring will simply be chopped up and left on the surface, maybe covered with a bit of compost, and those will then decay and provide food for plants that we plant later. So what I'm going to do first in this bed here is I did put some homemade compost on top about a month or so ago when I emptied out my compost bins. And so what I'm going to do is just kind of rake the top surface. There's some sticks and things that I just want to clean up a little bit. It's not necessary to do this, especially if you have compost that is in a bit of a more finished state, or if you really don't care. The seeds won't mind at all, and they'll just happily grow anyways. So we'll just do a little bit of raking here. Again, I'm not going to do much. The soil is actually pretty loose anyways, but I'm just going to knock some of these branches and things off because I like it to be a little bit neater. But again, this is not something you need to do. And be careful behind you, of course. So there are some sticks and things, and I'm actually just going to pile them onto the path here. And you can level out the soil a little bit if you see any holes. We tend to have raccoons come and dig, or other creatures, and so just having it flattened out a little bit is better. Then you won't get pools of water. And I'm only going to do this front section. I'm not going to do the whole bed. And there we go. Take out some of the larger pieces. And then it is literally time to plant. So I'm going to show you what they look like. So hopefully camera can pick that up. And there you go. So they're different colors, and they're similar to edible peas, except they're a lot smaller. And I'm literally going to cast them on top, not caring too much about density, not caring too much about even. Even is fine, but if you can't get it even, that's fine too. They're not going to really care. And I'm actually going to use a whole bag. I've kept this bag for a few years, and I kept procrastinating for some reason doing this, even though, as I'm showing you here, it doesn't take very much time. So one of those things which sometimes mindset related, you just have to get through. And I am going to use them all. Probably more dense than you normally would plant them, but again, this is just a cover crop. We're not actually going to be growing them for the actual veggie itself. And we got an empty bag. And now the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move this over here. I'm going to take this compost that I have, which is a compost that I got in the springtime, and it's actually green waste compost mixed with a few other things as well. And it doesn't have any weed seeds in it because it's been heat treated, heat sterilized essentially. So it's going to just be a good layer on top of the seeds. I'm going to put it in maybe just about an inch or so, not too deep, and then that'll give the seeds a chance to germinate under the soil. And we've got enough moisture right now in winter time, so I don't need to water. It's just a matter of just spreading the soil on top, not really caring too much about, again, getting them all covered up. And we're just gonna sprinkle it on top. Now, normally you would actually make furrows in the soil, and then you would actually plant the seeds in the soil, and then you close the furrows up. But to be honest with you, that's a lot of work, and I don't have the time, so I'm just going to do it this way and still have success. So we're just going to keep going doing this, and pretty soon we're done like this. And as you can see, I'm not being very particular about covering everything up, and just cover it up. Try to get most of them covered. And if you want, you can grab your rake again and just do a little bit of flattening here. Obviously don't uncover the seeds if you can. And over time, with the rain and moisture, these seeds are going to get covered up anyways. And if you see any that are sticking out, what you can also do is just kind of use your hands. Sometimes your hands are the best tool to just go ahead and just cover them up. And honestly, that's all we need to do. And no need to worry about frost or anything like that. Keep in mind, the seeds are going to need a little bit of warmth to actually sprout, and so they may actually not sit here. They may actually sit here for a while and not actually sprout. But once we get a warm day, and once they get a little bit more moisture, then hopefully they'll actually just start sprouting by themselves. And they probably won't put up much growth right now in winter, but then come spring, they'll all of a sudden grow like crazy. And I'll show you in the spring what to do once they're ready to actually be cut down, and how you then prep your bed for planting for next growing season. So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, put them down in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them. So take care and happy seeding.